And what is up, everybody? This is Terminator Juice, and welcome to the Juice is Loose, episode 36. And I can't believe it's been that many podcasts already, but that's where we're at. And we got quite a few things to talk about here. And we'll just go quickly through the introduction. I'm just going to say your name, say hi, and then we'll get right into it. So first off, we got Mega Gamer Man.
Oh, how's it going, everybody? I'm doing great. Glad to be back.
Yep. And we got Rob from Rule of Two Review back again on the Juice is Loose.
Yep, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me on again, man.
And then we have a newcomer to the Juice is Loose, Tessa. If you race in my Mario Kart 8 tournaments, you'll know, she dominates usually, and it's TLH14 is what the name that comes up at the results. But this is that Tessa. She was on our Legend of Korra review finale and some other things. So welcome to the Juice is Loose.
Hello, everyone.
And I like your icon there, the Majora's Mask. That's pretty awesome. So
yeah, me too.
All right, so let's get started. I want to start this off by talk about Kirby real quick. We don't have to spend a ton of time talking about this. Since we got a couple new people, as far as I haven't talked to you about Kirby yet, I want to get your guys' thoughts on the game if you're getting it, and just some quick thoughts on the game. Comes out Friday, the 20th of February. I have it pre-ordered with the Kirby amiibo at Toys R Us, and I'm pretty excited about it. So let's find out what you guys think. So Tessa, is Kirby a game on your radar? Are you getting it, or is it something you're going to pass on first?
It kind of depends. I actually am not that interested in the regular gameplay of Rainbow Curse, but I think the multiplayer looks fun. So if I could, I have a number of nephews, and if I would be able to play that with them, I would be very interested in it. But I'm definitely not intending to get it as a game for just myself. I'm looking more forward to Yoshi's Woolly World.
All right, that's fair enough. Because yeah, I mean the multiplayer looks like more of a standard Kirby game than the single player where you're just drawing the lines and stuff. So, did you ever play Canvas Curse on the DS?
I didn't. Actually,
Okay.
I think I played a demo, but just that.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I mean, it's pretty challenging too towards the end. But it's not. I can see why it's not for everyone. But I'm a sucker for the claymation art style, so that was.
Oh, it looks nice.
Yeah, that was a big selling point for me.
And that would be another bonus to playing the multiplayer, because I'd be looking at the TV instead of the gamepad.
And that's a point we'll bring up here in a little bit about the gamepad. So
yeah.
So Rob, what's Kirby? Where does that stand for you? Is that something you're getting, or are you passing on it?
It's a game that I've always known I would really, really like, but I can't say I've been paying like really close attention to it and like gobbling up all the pieces of information and super pumped for. But I did decide to get it, so I went in to pick up a couple new amiibos that I had pre-ordered at GameStop a few days ago. And when I was in, I had double-checked when the game came out because I couldn't remember, and then they said, yeah, but it's coming Friday. So I was like, well, I know I'm going to need that game, so I went ahead and just bought it at that point. Like, I paid for the whole game. So I'm excited for it. Like, I haven't been chomping at the bit like, a lot of us tend to get with most new Nintendo games, but there's also no doubt in my mind it's going to be great. I did play Canvas Curse. I bought that when that was brand new. Which was really cool because at the time, like the DS, just the DS was like a really new thing. And it was one of the first games that really kind of came out and showed what the idea of like two-screen gameplay and touch-screen gameplay could be like. And it was really hard. You're totally right, dude. But it was a great game. And the more I thought about how Rainbow Curse is going to play out and how beautiful it looks, I was like, I would be stupid to pass it up. So, like I said, I'm not like dying to play it, but I know it's going to be great, and I did just reserve it the other day. So yeah, I'll be getting it.
Cool. And it's got unique gameplay. I mean, it's not a typical platformer. It's nothing that we've played on the Wii U yet. So I mean, I think people that are sleeping on it, saying they're not sure about the gameplay, it is something unique. So it's not for everybody, but it's definitely unique. It's not the typical 2D platformer, and
Yeah.
like we've seen so much on the Wii U already.
I like that it's another one of those new Nintendo first party games that's really trying to utilize the touchpad like in a unique way where like the gameplay is pretty like hingent on it. It's got to be played that way. You have to be saying, wow, it's my gamepad that's making this game work, and it's my gamepad that makes it fun. And I think that like we need more games like that. You know, it's why I've stood by Zombie U since day one. I think that game was great, and half of why I thought it was great was because you needed the gamepad to do so many things. So I think it's cool that Kirby will be doing that. So I'm excited.
All right, cool. Games, I know I've asked you this before, but I forgot your answer. If you're getting it, I think you are, but correct me if I'm wrong. But let me add this to your answer. Do you feel Nintendo's being too quiet about this game and not really pushing it very hard? They haven't shown much. I know there's not much else they can show, but they haven't really pushed it as much as I think they should. So what's your take on it?
Well, I believe that this game, because I loved playing it back in on the DS, Canvas Curse. It was really freaking fun. I loved it. But here, Nintendo, I haven't seen anything much from it. We're probably gonna get the best out of advertisement. I would say we are going to get probably just YouTube and basically just online adverts. Probably there'll be a good Cartoon Network commercial. That'll be good. But as of anything else, I wouldn't see this game getting that much stuff. It is kind of one of their smaller titles because it's part of that $40 title thing, like Toad, Treasure Tracker. So I wouldn't expect that much advertisement from it. I mean, you can expect a lot from the internet, just not a lot from, let's say, magazines or TV and such. Just don't really go too much with that. But yeah, I mean, I would say that would happen. But for me, I'm gonna get the game. I can't acquire it right now. That's my problem. So I'm gonna get it. I'm definitely gonna get it because it looks beautiful. I loved Canvas Curse, so I'm definitely gonna like this. So I'm gonna pick it up when I get the chance because this really looks like a fun game. So yeah.
Can I ask a quick question, because it sounds like you guys and Tessa, you brought up like the idea of the multiplayer stuff, and I really haven't seen much about that. Like, can you guys explain it at all? Yeah, I don't really know what it's about.
It works more like a standard platformer. Right? Games, you go ahead.
No, all right. It really works as basically one guy is on the gamepad, controlling Kirby with drawing all the lines of rainbows, and you got 4 other players as Waddle Dees, and they're going around, getting enemies too. They basically play as if they were if you were playing a regular platformer, except they can attack and stuff. So that's basically how the multiplayer goes.
And they can carry Kirby, so that frees up the gamepad to just draw lines. They can hold Kirby. One of them can pick up Kirby, and then you can concentrate with the gamepad on drawing the lines and clearing,
and determining their path and stuff.
Yeah. Well, they can walk around just like a normal 2D platformer. They can just walk around, jump. It's just a normal platformer at that point.
Oh, that's cool.
And then you can use the lines.
I assume it's all local too. Is it all local or is it?
Yeah, it's all local.
Man, that's okay. That's still cool.
But it definitely is a nice added game mode that I don't think a lot of people
I don't think I'm getting any more Sun Online.
It kind of sounds like it reminds me of some of the stuff in Rayman Legends where you would use the touchpad with Murphy and you would like draw through those like gelatin things and kind of determine Rayman's path.
Yeah,
and, that stuff was so cool. So that sounds neat.
Yeah, it's a like I said, they added something that, I mean, most people probably won't take advantage of that, but it could actually be a really cool couch co-op kind of game.
Yeah.
So
I can guarantee me and my girlfriend to play it. I guarantee it.
Yeah, and then, like, this is the point I was going to bring up because Tessa brought it up. There's a lot of people complaining, and even Game Explain today was complaining that the biggest drawback is that they're staring at their gamepad instead of their HD TV, but you can't draw the lines. I mean, you could try, but you're not going to be effective at the game drawing the lines, not looking at the gamepad.
I'm going to try that right now, actually. Let me go to my TV and draw a line.
Is that really a negative that you have to use the gamepad? Like, it's essential to...
It doesn't work. It doesn't work as well.
It's like unique to the gamepad. You can't play without a stylus. Like that game would be ridiculous with like the Wii remote pointing or
Exactly.
something. It
Like
just
if you want, there's ways of people doing this. Is I guess he's not like a multitasker, I would say, because let's say when you're typing, right? You have people that type without even looking at the keyboard, right? But here you would have it where okay, you're looking at the screen, but at the gamepad, remember it's the same thing on both screens.
Yeah, but
So
you have to be too
it's not
precise,
really
I think, to do it that way. You
Yeah.
have to be looking at the game.
you have no reference point on that smooth touch screen to know
Yeah.
where you're at. But I was going to bring this to Tessa to answer. So,
Well,
'cause how do you feel? I mean, do you feel that that's a valid complaint, or do you think people are being hypocrites because they're saying, "Give me a reason to use the gamepad," and then saying, "Well, I want to use my TV and Pro controller." It's like that's kind of what's been happening a lot with this game and with Zelda in particular too, with people complaining. I want to use the Pro controller now, but everybody wanted to use the gamepad before. So,
Yeah.
what do you think?
yeah, it reminds me of when Twilight Princess came out, and people realized that the motion controls really only amounted to what was a button press, and then Skyward Sword happened, and nobody liked that one either. It sometimes you just can't win with people.
Mm-hmm.
It is a valid complaint that it's not going to look as pretty as it would if you played it on your TV, but it's not like a strong turnoff. It's just like, oh, it would look nicer on an HD television, but it's still like you couldn't feasibly work it to not be played on the touchscreen, and it still looks nice even on the lower resolution gamepad. It's like if you're a professional reviewer or something and you just have to, be impartial and criticize it for what it is, it's true that, it's not going to be as pretty looking at the gamepad, but people that are acting like, oh, well, it's not worth playing or buying because of that fact are just blowing that out of proportion.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things. Like, it depends on the TV too. My buddy has a TV where the gamepad looks 10 times better than his old rear projection DLP. That's the bulb's about to burn out. So the gamepad actually at his house looks way better, even though he hates to admit it.
Well, the Wii U can hook up through composite cables, so you could play it on you could probably play it on a black and white television,
And then you're like, thank God for this gamepad.
Yeah,
I mean,
honestly, I had an LG Plasma. It was a low end. It was a replacement for the TV that I had that had a warranty that broke, and I always thought the gamepad looked better. That's half the reason I bought my Sony TVs, because I was sick of my gamepad looking better than my LG Plasma.
Yeah, that'd be a problem.
It just made me mad. It's like, this TV, why does the gamepad look better? It's supposedly 480p, but go ahead.
There is one thing I want to say. All this talk of people wanting to use the gamepad, wanting that to be used and such, but this excuse of, well, it's the lower resolution, things don't look as pretty. I know the perfect game that would solve that problem, and I don't know why they aren't working on it. Well, it's not necessarily, because they are working on it. Rhythm Heaven. But they're making a new Rhythm Heaven game for the 3DS.
Mm.
However, that game would be perfect for the Wii U because you use the touchscreen and you use like flicking motions and tapping and all that stuff. It makes full use out of the touch part of the touchscreen without actually having any important visuals to it. And like games like that where you need that touch input and like the flexibility that offers beyond like what you can get with button presses, but stuff that's not necessarily all too important that you have to see visually.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that would be great. And there's the new Rhythm Heaven games out on the 3DS, which is fine, Except for the fact that there's no announcement for America. That's a problem. But it's fine if the 3DS gets a Rhythm Heaven game. But, they should start working on a Wii U one, too.
Yeah, they could bring smaller games like that, like Brain Age or something. Have a Wii U version where you're writing on the gamepad and everyone, and it could be a multiplayer, another couch co-op.
Where everyone else is watching the TV screen.
You have like a Pictionary type game where you're drawing things and it happens on the TV. I mean, there's so many uses for smaller games that they could do.
They could do Flipnote Studio U.
Mm-hmm.
See, I think when it comes to Kirby, I think a lot of what you said, even about the Rhythm Heaven game, kind of applies to that. I sort of think that as far as, kind of going back to your first question on if it's a valid complaint or not about how you use the touchscreen, I kind of think that it sort of is actually a valid complaint, because a game that is so reliant on using the touchscreen at all times kind of does have that ability to alienate some players, I'm super pumped for the game. It sounds like, most of us are pretty excited, and Terminator Juice, I know you're excited too. It's going to be great. But I think that the reason people might have that complaint and why it's hard for me to argue it, even though I think the game is going to be great, is because it seems like the game is almost 100% reliant on using the gamepad. It's not like it's kind of a back and forth thing like other really good touchscreen games like Rayman or Wonderful 101 or Zombie U, games that use the touchpad a lot, but you don't have to be consistently staring at your lap and staring at the controller.
Mm-hmm.
And like Kirby, to be fair, as great as you and I and most of us know it's probably going to be, we're going to be looking at that gamepad 95% of the time probably. So the idea of like, oh, you're not really using your TV is sort of true. I feel like the complaint of, oh, it's a waste to have the TV, kind of like people are like, oh, I have this beautiful HD TV and it's going to waste or whatever. That's like taking it to the extreme. I think that's paying attention to the wrong aspects of how the game is going to play.
I bet I've played at least close to 100 hours on the Wii U without my TV on since I've had it. So
yeah, the off-TV play for a lot of games is great, but that's also different because I'm assuming it's when you're playing something like Mario or Bayonetta or something and you're just choosing to play it on your controller, as opposed to like the fundamentals of the gameplay is based around using
Well, sometimes
that.
I just don't want to have to turn the TV on. I just want to play for a little bit,
Yeah,
and
it's
not turn
super
everything
easy.
on.
Yeah, I totally agree. So
All right,
I'm just basically saying that. But anyway, go ahead.
I want to move this along, but first I'm going to ask you guys 2 questions. Just give a quick answer, and then we'll move on to the next topic, which is a little story. We're going to have Games tell us about another game that's coming out this week. So first, how long do you guys think Kirby will be, and what will be an acceptable length for you for a $40 game? And also, answer that first. Just what would be an acceptable length, and how long do you think it will be? We'll start with Mega for a $40 game.
Well, for me, it'd probably be like in a day. But that's just me, though. But to fully complete the game, but I'm just gonna say that for for the story, I would say. But to fully complete the game, I would say it would take about, if you're like me, it would take about probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks, around there.
Well, put it in hours.
Yeah, I think hours makes sense. Yeah.
Hours? All right. How many hours? How many hours is 3 weeks? That's the problem.
Hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
Hundreds of hours. Okay. All right. So I would say if you're gonna put it in hour standards, yeah, you have hundreds of hours. If you're really gonna go for all out, because I can see they have some challenges in there that would actually go with it. So.
All right, I'm gonna answer this because I already have an answer. Captain Toad took me 13 hours to beat, and I did just about everything but the final mummy level. I'm gonna say Kirby's gonna be short of that. I'm gonna say 10 hours, and for a $40 game that has local multiplayer and stuff, I think that's an acceptable amount for a game like that. But it could also be a little bit more like 12, 13, like Captain Toad. I think that's all I'm expecting. Anything longer than that, I'd be surprised. But that's my take on it. So.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if I could really see it being that long. I mean, I guess it's possible, but I feel like if I was to just look at the base value that I'd want from a $40 game, I would be happy with a game that was as short as 6 to 8 hours, because I think a lot of other story-based games, something like I really love, like The Last of Us, which is like 10 or 12 hours, and that's a full $60 game. A game like Kirby, if I would want it to be longer, and I guess it could be, but I wouldn't feel ripped off if that game played around 6, 7, 8 hours long. And I will probably take longer to play it, because I think I'm kind of like you, Terminator Juice. Like, I play through like a short game like Captain Toad longer than I think most people, and I'm sure I'll do the same with this. But I prefer my games to be longer than 6 to 8 hours, but that's if it's a full price game. A $40 game, 6 8 hours, I'm good with that.
Cool. It took me 18 hours to beat The Last of Us. That's according to the game save file.
Yeah.
Tessa, just real quick, how long do you think the game will be, and what would be acceptable for you for a $40 game?
Longer than the Order 1886.
And that's where this is going. That's where this is going. So I wanted to segue from Kirby to Order. So, do you think it'll be 10 hours or less, more, Kirby?
No, legitimately longer than the Order 1886, because it's not really story-based. It's like a level-based kind of game, and the time on that is just going to be variable upon your skill level, and it's probably going to have some like later levels that just like make you pull your hair out, and I'm not even concerned about length. I'd be concerned about the level design and the difficulty, and that's, for a game like this, that's what's going to determine how much time you're going to get out of it.
That's a good point. And there is some hidden things to explore. Like, the levels are bigger, and there's no time limit. You can just kind of search it out. There's a lot of
they'll probably be like branching paths and stuff, and crazy replayability too.
So, all right. Games, did you ever come up with a shorter answer than hundreds of hours?
7,000
Are you
hours.
sticking with that?
Okay. I'm gonna say, for everything it has to offer, since we're gonna go by that, basically, I would say a good 13 hours.
Okay.
And I'll give it like about a 2-hour, 3-hour boost. So, a good 13, if you really are going to go for everything, and I guess a local multiplayer, it's like if you want.
Yeah, that could add some time. I'm not sure. That looks like it would change the gameplay quite a bit. But anyway, Tessa brought up the Order 1886. I had a poll question I put up last week. Ever since they showed this game, I've had a feeling that it wasn't going to be what people thought. And then, a lot of people speculated a 4-player co-op game, online co-op. But with everything I've seen, this was before finding out it was potentially under 5 hours. I put a poll up. Which game do you think will have a higher average score on Metacritic, Kirby or The Order 1886? And it was like 93% said Kirby to 7% said The Order 1886. I think only 2 people voted for The Order.
Man.
Now that with this new information and a story games is about to tell us, just real quick, if you guys didn't or did answer the poll, just let I said Kirby, obviously. What do you guys think? Not that review scores are the most important thing, but what do you think will score higher with this information that we've been hearing today about The Order?
I think it's going to be the popular answer, but there's no doubt it should be Kirby. That's going to be the better game.
Even if reviewers didn't fall madly in love with Kirby and recognize how great it is, or potentially how not great it is, but I have my doubts, The Order is just so hyped up and so could not possibly live up to expectations, period. It's going to be just such a letdown. Kirby doesn't have to do well for it to score higher than The Order.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah.
Kirby doesn't have all the anticipation of 2 years of people waiting. Or when did we see this at? E3 2013, I believe.
No,
So
I think, wasn't it last year?
14.
Yeah, the same
No,
one.
last year they showed it,
No.
but they showed the teaser.
No, yeah, they announced it like a lot earlier.
At E3
And then when
2013.
Did they?
And then when
That's
we
the
did
same
finally
one?
see it, it was like, oh, so this is just all the other games that are coming out, but with steampunk skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, they teased a CG trailer back at E3 2013. That's when everyone thought it was going to be a 4-player co-op type of game. Because they showed the 4 characters. But anyway, Games, why don't you tell us, you had some hands-on with the orders. Your friend of yours got it early. Why don't you tell us, don't draw this out because I want to get this podcast done in about 40 minutes from now. So
We can do it.
just sum up your experience and then confirm what you believe, if that rumor about the game being 5 hours long, if that's true or not.
Okay, now I was able to play it at a friend's. Okay, I was there. You got it early because Amazon they love sending stuff early. This is nothing new. But he basically got it, and I was just like, I heard so much hype about this game. I was like, can I come and play it? I'm just like, and he's like, yeah. So I go over there. I'm playing it, and I'm playing it. And I'm almost done. Like, literally, I'm almost done. And it took about 4 hours and a half. But at the same time, that's someone like me that just goes through it, right? Because especially when it's like a story-driven game, I basically go through it as fast as I can because I would like to know what would happen next. And I was literally at the end. I was at the end of the game, and because it was like the final kind of chapter there, and yeah, it's like I was just like, wait a second, how many hours has it been? It's like, oh, it's been like you've been here for like 4.5. I'm like, what? I was just like, what the frick? It was really short. I honestly.
Well, you didn't get to the credits, so you can't.
I didn't get there.
But you knew you were at the end. You
Yeah, I'm
positive?
curious how
Yeah.
you know you're so close to the end. Like, does it track your progress or?
No, it's because I think it had some kind of like when you're there. How could I say that?
Like a really predictable story?
Yeah. How can I say? It really had a predictable story. So because I really don't want to spread that out too much. But I was just playing it over and over, and I was at the point where the controller was about to die because it only lasts for like 4 hours, and I was really kind of like, really, I'm almost there. I'm like literally right here at the end. So then it's just like I'm just like to my friend, dude, why? Why? Why would you get this? It's like it doesn't even have multiplayer, and it's like I understand now. Listen, here's the difference with shooters between Halo and a game like this. Okay, Halo. Right, you have the single-player campaign, which is a good measly about like 3 to 4 hours, right? Especially depending on what difficulty you're playing on.
Way longer than
It
that. I
took
think
12
Halo,
on the first game for me.
Yeah, Halo games are way longer than that. The
Oh,
campaign
I was just going with the current ones because I played them. I have the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah,
played
I
them
think ODST was probably the only one that would be about that short.
Yeah, right. So you would have that being longer, but what else does Halo have? The multiplayer, right? So you can also play all of that, and that is definitely worth $60 because you get a good campaign, and you get a good multiplayer with a bunch of modes and everything. But you get this type of game, which is a single-player shooter, third-person shooter, and it's $60 for about measly around, if you're not like me, or measly around like 5 to 6.5 hours. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So something I'm curious about. Because I've been like marginally excited about this game enough to buy it until today and this news about the length. So my question is, if the game wasn't super short and you didn't almost get to the end in 4 hours, like separating that, was the game even good at all? Was it fun? It looks like it could be fun or it could fall flat. Like, did you like it aside from the whole length of the game aspect? I'm just curious.
Okay. Now I'm just gonna go through a quick little list. Graphics, it looks nice. The facial stuff was great. It was good enough. But these guys must have been depressed as frick. It's gray as heck. That's one thing. But the gameplay, it was okay. A lot of quick time. There was a good amount of quick time. But really, the shooting parts, they were okay. I was really doing.
So it's
this
just an
whole
average
thing
game. It sounds like it's just an average shooter.
Yeah, it's basically just an average one with quick time events and all that, all that jazz.
Gotcha.
Of course, when I was versing those vampire kind of monster thingies, they were kind of tougher because, of course, they're built tougher. But it was a good enough shooter, taking a good enough third-person shooter for that kind of gameplay. But yeah, in total, it was. I mean, if it was longer. If it actually had more to offer, I would say that this would have been a much better purchase, worth $60. But since it's only just single player, and they're probably like I saw that comment that you put in there, Terminator, $20 DLC for later on.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some kind of expansion.
Yeah, so I really saw that, and I was just like, he's probably right, because there's no way that this is it. So, and it's strange because I look at a game, and this happened with Infamous also. Infamous Second Son, it was short as frick. I literally thought, because I love the Infamous games, Infamous 1 took some time. Infamous 2 even took about a longer time because there was much time. And then Infamous Second Son, it was like only 6 hours. I was like, what the frick? And I got Platinum within a day and a half. That's how fast I did that. And this is literally acting like the same thing. So it really is kind of a disappointment that these games are going like all the games that mostly all the games from Sony or their studios are coming to this point where they're this short, and they had it was delayed actually, the order, I believe.
Couple times. Yeah.
Yeah, right. It was supposed to release like the beginning of September or something like that, or November.
It's too bad because I think that a game that is like that story heavy and that so much of like a cinematic experience can be done right and can be worth the price. And The Last of Us is a really easy example that I think is the perfect example, or like the Uncharted games. And I didn't love this game, but a lot of people really liked Heavy Rain, and I do think that is a game that, despite my opinion of not really enjoying it, I do think that it justified its price for someone who would enjoy it. So this trend of them getting shorter, like, there's no precedence for that because we've seen that it can be done right. I don't know why that's happening.
As a Nintendo fan, it's like a Nintendo fan first, it's hard for me to even consider a 5-hour game.
Totally agree.
Like worth that. But I wanted to get Tessa. I want everyone. Rob, you already asked a question. I thought we could each ask games a question or two about the game.
Ask me something complicated. All right,
yeah,
I only went through it.
Rob kind of started with his question. I'm gonna ask: is there any like boss fights? Like you said, it showed like werewolves and stuff.
It's kind of.
Or were they quick time events, or was it actual like?
It's kind of. You remember that E3 gameplay that they?
The werewolf thing.
Yeah, something like that. Really wasn't much. I couldn't even tell if it was a boss fight, to be honest. But
you can't tell the difference between. Like they bragged about, you can't tell the difference between a cutscene and gameplay, and I always thought that was a negative. Like I never could. That was not something that could be a positive in any way, shape, or form, in my opinion. If you can't tell when you're in gameplay and when you're in cutscene.
Yeah, I can see why like a game studio would want to brag about that, and like
maybe from a graphic standpoint, but I mean just from a game standpoint. That's
not like playing Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You get. It's like you get some of those games that show you the HD, like Bayonetta, right? Remember the cutscenes? I mean, I know they were in game real time, but they have. It's like with like Bayonetta 2, where the cutscenes were the same, and then when you went to the gameplay, it was basically the same exact thing. That's basically the kind of the thing that they did here, where they used the game engine graphics or whatever, and then it's basically the same thing as a cutscene.
Yeah, I mean it does look technically impressive, but
the game looks gorgeous.
Good. When you put it on your TV, it looks good. When you have it on your TV, it looks beautiful. I'm not gonna deny that. It looks really nice and clean. I liked it.
You just didn't like the design choices of the gray and stuff.
Yeah, it's like you had that one guy that's just like it's like Cloud directed this, or at least drew this out. Like Cloud, he's
All right, I want to give Tessa a chance. Do you have any questions about the order that you want games to answer? Anything that we didn't already ask?
Okay, so it's going to get $20 DLC in the future.
That was a guess. That's my
Do you-
guess.
That was just a guess.
Well, do you suppose it could get a Hyrule Warriors worth of $20 DLC? Because then after that, it could almost be a full-length game.
It possibly. I would think that if, just like with Last of Us, it would be like a 2 to 3 hour story expansion. Was if they got any DLC. I don't know how they end the story.
So not as much as Hyrule Warriors.
No, I would expect a short to maybe half that be CGI. So, should this game be $40? That's the question I want to ask.
I would say yes.
And
I
if
would say it should be.
If Nintendo published this, would it be $40, $50, or $60 in your opinion?
Nintendo wouldn't publish it.
Nintendo published it.
I think if Nintendo made it, it would be a longer, more complete game.
Yeah,
It
but
would be worth $60.
if they saw
It
what
certainly wouldn't be as gray.
Yeah.
it'd be colorful. If they saw the length it was going to be, I feel that they would do what they did with Kirby and Toad and make it a $40 game.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I think
I
that
would say.
the difference becomes that a game like this, like, even though it's so short, so we know like the actual value to the gamer is only $40 worth. The problem is they're like another company that's stuck in like the whole mold of spending way too much money to make a game like this, and the game looks gorgeous as we established, so they probably spent so much that they have to sell it for this much.
I'd be curious to see the budget on this game versus Xenoblade Chronicles X. I would almost bet the order was higher, the budget.
You're probably right,
my goodness.
and they look about as good, and Xenoblade Chronicles will have 10 jillion times the content.
300 hours compared to 5.
X is practically an MMO.
That
Like,
yeah,
It is almost.
It should not have a small budget.
Yeah, that is X.
But
is
Nintendo's good with their money and their resource management, though, I think. It's kind of what Terminator used to
now
get
it's
at, so-
it's probably one of their largest budgeted games, and it probably
Could be.
looks like it probably looks more like a typical AAA budget than like the typical Nintendo budget.
Well, I'll compare it to GTA 5 that has not even as big of a
200
world, but it has a similar like sun cycle, weather cycle,
You
big
can
and
go around
open
in
world.
people's backyards.
And
And the
GTA
online.
5 was 300 million when it was off. That was before
That's
advertising.
insane. That's
Yeah,
how much
there's no
all
way it's
3
that
Lord of the
much.
Rings movies cost to make.
That-
So
That's
Seriously.
ridiculous.
I would be shocked if Xenoblade Chronicles X cost more than 60 million. Tell you the truth, the way Nintendo is with getting bang for their buck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just think they're smarter with their game design. Yeah, I totally agree.
And I think
It's going to look like a small amount compared to other game studios, but this is still probably one of their they spent a lot of money on this.
They said Zelda's their biggest budget title ever, the Zelda
And that
U.
makes sense too.
Oh,
So
cool.
X is probably number 2, I would think. And Mario Kart 8, they worked on that for like 6 years. I'm guessing that had a pretty decent budget. After how well Mario Kart Wii sold, I think they decided they needed to
To
step it up.
invest, yeah.
But
The way it looked.
Was that all towards 8, or did they split the budget between 7 because they like developed them side
yeah,
by
well,
side?
they had help
Good
on
question.
7. Retro and
Retro
another
did
studio helped with 7.
Yeah,
They've been working on the game engine, and from conception to having a done game for Mario Kart 8 in about a 6-year span. So, because they built that game engine from scratch for that game, so they didn't have any resources to borrow from. So that one probably cost them. But I don't know if they can use that game engine for other games on the Wii U. I'm not sure how all that works. They're very different with the way they do things. So I don't
they
know.
could go ahead and use it for another Mario Kart later.
They
down
could
the
use
line,
it for-
honestly. I wouldn't mind.
Wave Race would be awesome. I would love to.
Oh, don't
Oh.
tease me, bro.
Oh.
And HD water. Man.
I know. Still the best water ever in a game were both the Wave Race games.
Pretty much.
So let's move on from the negativity. I usually try not to talk about things, but when something's this bad, in my opinion, like Rob, when I was watching your video and you're talking about you still thinking about getting the order, I left a comment. Like I would
I
lose
commented
respect.
back on that.
Your gaming principles would come into question. If
Well,
you
hold
bought
up though.
this game.
That was the whole point of the video, was that I was expecting to still be picking it up because I wanted to support like a good, quality, I thought, exclusive on the PlayStation 4 because it has almost none, and I thought the game had a chance of being really, really good. until this information came out, and now it's like I can't possibly justify $60.
It'll be
if it's confirmed that the game is that short. There's no way, man. There's no way.
it'll be $40 before E3, definitely.
Probably, yeah. I mean, and here's the thing: is if like the reviews come out, and if like Game Trailers and IGN and all these people review it, and they're like, this game is 10 hours or longer, and none of that stuff is true, then I would be like, okay, I'm gonna risk it and give it a shot so that I know if this game is good or not.
I'd still say run it. I'd still run it.
Probably. Yeah.
I'll see your E3 wager and raise you. It'll be $40 before Codename Steam is $40.
And that comes out at $40.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna doubt that. A lot of the games that come from these studios like die in price. Like, the price just goes down.
And the sad thing is this game had over 100,000 pre-orders before the first gameplay was shown. It's
For the order?
Yeah, it was sitting at 200,000 a week ago in the U.S. only. So worldwide, I bet it sells close to 1 million in its first week, just because the PS4 doesn't have a lot of exclusives. You know, people will snag it up from the commercials on TV.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess between 300,000 and 400,000 maybe for the first week, which is still a lot. I think that
not if the U.S. has 200,000 on its own. You know, Europe's more than that because Europe supports the PS4 more. So Europe's probably 300,000 pre-orders. Japan won't buy it, so I would say 600,000-700,000 first week, and I would put that in the same vein as 50 Shades of Grey doing 80 million based off.
Oh man, I was so sad at that
advertisement, and then everything I've heard from fans and everybody says it's just so terrible, and it's like that's the kind of trash that gets supported, just like with Twilight, you know, a couple years ago. I mean, come on, that was some of the worst acting, worst storytelling ever.
It's all marketing, man. It's marketing, and it's knowing your demographic, and that's why Twilight was successful, and that's why the Order will be successful.
But those are flash success stories. Like the opening weekends were huge, and then it had some of the biggest drop-offs in the history of cinema. Mm-hmm. And I think 50 Shades of Grey will drop off below. It did 80 million. I predict right now it'll be under 20 million next weekend. That's how far it'll fall.
Yeah, the only people who wanted to see that movie already saw it this weekend.
And it's just a sad thing that things like that get supported, and then amazing games like we're talking about Kirby. I guarantee that'll be a great game, and that'll probably in its lifetime not even hit what the Order will hit in its first week, which is sad.
Probably, but you know, it's probably going to be another case like Captain Toad, where Captain Toad did actually surprisingly well for itself. And you know, Captain Toad made a lot of money for sure, and I'm sure Kirby's going to do the same thing. The profit margin could be way higher than the Order will be for Sony.
Oh yeah, for sure. So let's
going to be higher. The review scores are going to be higher. It's not the sales.
I was going to say just one more thing, just a quick thing. Don't really, because I always say this, remember, it's your choice, it's what you like, you get to go play it, you like it, go for it. I'm not going to judge. That's you. I have games that people don't like that I don't freaking care. I like it. So
yeah, that's a good call.
You know?
That's true, but I
understand. And like games like this, really, I really would not like to support, but yet again, you know, you really can't tell people what they can and cannot get.
Yeah, that sounds well and good until Terminator Juice questions your gaming principles, and then it's all game over, man.
But I can't help but lose respect for somebody who went and saw Twilight on midnight after they seen the first movie. Like, I'm sorry.
You should have learned your lesson.
Oh,
but
actually,
after you saw the first one and you went and saw the second one, it meant like. First one was okay. The second one was absolutely terrible. If you went and saw the third one, then I've lost respect for you.
Okay, I have to admit something. I have to admit, where I saw the first movie and I didn't like it, and by the time the second and third movie came out, I was dating somebody who was a huge Twilight fan, and I took her to the midnight showings.
Well,
that's how.
That ain't your fault. That ain't your fault.
I don't look down on you that, but Tessa, I'm guessing you've seen them all at midnight.
No, actually, I had only seen the second one, and God, I saw the second one in theaters, not a midnight showing, but fairly early on. I went with at least my sister. She was the one that was into it, and I just did not like it at all. But what I did like was going to school the day after, and I had this ticket stub for New Moon. I went and got to see New Moon before all the other Twilight fangirls at my school did, and I rubbed that in their face, and I liked that.
Is that the
Hey,
one
it was
where
totally
she,
worth it.
But that,
You could have
but
sold
that,
that ticket.
oh, it was just a stub.
is that the one where she like tries to kill herself so she can see Edward? Or
I thought that was all of them.
Shoot.
Because
I've
he
actually,
leaves-
I've seen them
pretty
all.
Sure
Why are we
that's
talking
the
about
first
this?
time.
is that the one where she gets
Because we
thrown
started
up
talking
against
about
the
50
wall?
Shades of Grey, and that's pretty
She
much
gets
Twilight.
really sad, and she sits in a
Yes.
chair, and the seasons change,
Yeah.
and it's.
Oh
and
yeah, I
then-
remember
She
that.
tries
scene.
to when she's near death, she sees him. But here's the part that
Yes.
this is the last we'll talk about this movie.
Until next week.
She cuts her finger right on some letter or something,
Oh yeah.
and to save her, he throws her across the room through a glass table.
Yep.
To save her because she had a tiny cut on her finger, and then she's just
Everyone was gonna
bleeding
kill her.
profusely because
Yeah.
she just got thrown through a glass table.
That's like the beginning scene of the movie. That's like the first thing that happens.
That's the setup for the whole plot of the movie, and I was
Yep.
like, after
Yep.
that, I'm like looking around. My mom wanted to go see it, and it was, when did that come out? It was a holiday, Mother's Day, something.
2009, I would think.
It was some kind of holiday. I went and seen it with her. And there was a cute girl right in front of us, so that was the only good part about the whole thing. So anyway, let's.
Is it no surprise that it
It's
gets
a good demographic.
fan fiction about it?
Okay, new 3DS. Let's move on.
New Nintendo 3DS. Yay!
I don't know.
I got hands-on today. Mine shipped today. I'll get it later this week, but I got hands-on one today. Fantastic. And I want to hear your games. He's already said about 40 minutes about it. He had his own 15-minute video, and then on Zen's podcast, he talked about it for about 20 minutes. I don't need that to happen. Just tell me, first, how did you acquire yours? I know some people had some problems, like myself. They didn't even ship it till later, like late today. We'll go Mega first. Rob, you already had your video, but if you want to quick summarize which one you got, how you got it, and then Tessa, I'm dying to hear your Majora's Mask story, so we'll save that for last. Mega, go ahead. Just say which one. Obviously, you just held it up, but did you have any trouble getting it, and how did you go about getting it?
All right, so first we're gonna do an unboxing. But of course, red one. Many people probably didn't see. Look better than the black one. I'm sorry, way better. And I managed to get it through my GameStop. I pre-ordered it. I know many people had problems getting it through GameStop or Best Buy even because of the fact that, especially GameStop, because you have to pre-order, because once again, GameStop only get for the first day sometimes, or this only happens mainly with Nintendo products. They only get the amounts that were pre-ordered, which is kind of stupid. So many people came into the store disappointed. I was there with my 3DS, just transferring all the data because I traded in my 3DS. So I transferred everything, and it took 3 hours, but still, everybody came in. They were all disappointed. I heard my friend that works at a GameStop. This kid threw a tantrum and got his regular 3DS and literally threw it on the ground, shattering the hinge and the top
What a
screen.
mess.
Jeez.
That is well, it was a kid. What do you expect? And
That's why you don't have kids.
I would have just. Oh God.
All right.
But still,
So
yeah.
when I was a kid, I never threw my Game Boy around.
I would have never done that.
Stay in
Oh.
school, use protection.
Hey, it's the new generation. It's the new generation, kids. What can you do?
Yeah,
I was the new generation too.
they call SWAT people on each other. I mean, that's
Yeah.
how stupid they are.
Lame.
Let me just counter your 3-hour transfer. My buddy Derek Steelfox today, he updated his last night, took 15 minutes. He did the software update. And then at work, he transferred his old 3DS to the new 3DS, including his SD card. He did that wirelessly. He did not take it out, use a screwdriver.
Oh, I wish I did that.
Hour and 15 minutes, including the updates, it transferred everything. So they must just had a bad signal there. Or
Honestly, I did my transfer as well, and I was talking about it on Twitter and stuff. And I did it through my PC. I didn't do it wirelessly. and I hated the process more than I hate going to the dentist. But it probably didn't even take an hour. It sounds like I did it even faster than your
My
buddy.
my original 3DS to my XL took a half hour, and it's literally 5, 6 screens you have to click on. I didn't think it
Yeah.
was that bad of a deal,
The
but
problem with the new 3DS is having to take the back off and do that whole. Oh my god, it was
Yeah.
I explained that.
terrible.
I explained
Terrible.
that. I explained that like spot on of how you only need to do it once unless you're gonna
Mhm.
like freaking put like a bigger card.
that's
I
why
explained how that works.
mine's gonna be a 32, and it's going in, and it's never coming out. But Rob,
Well,
why
I
don't you?
have one question actually in regards to that.
Yeah.
What about music? Uh,
If you want after everybody goes, I'll explain how that goes. If you
You
Okay.
can wirelessly do stuff, can't you?
that too
Some
is
things.
wireless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was just
I'll
game
explain
stuff
it
or
after.
all. Okay.
All right, yeah, we'll get to that. Rob, tell everybody which 3DS you got. How did you go ahead and obviously you pre-ordered, but where did you
Mhm.
get it from? Did you have any issues? And just share that story real quick.
Yeah, I was pretty super lucky. I was at work when they revealed like all the bundles and everything, and I know within like half an hour the Majora's Mask ones were sold out online and in the store because I called the GameStop real quick to be like, hey, I'm coming after work. Can I reserve one? And they were like, no. And I was like, what about the Monster Hunter one, which is actually the one I kind of wanted more? And they were like, no, we're out of those in the store too. You can hopefully still do it online. I was like, okay, so I drove home from work because I can't really use my work computer to do things like that. It's like protected. So I came home from work and I was really nervous I missed out on the Monster Hunter ones, but I didn't. So I was able to order it from GameStop.com, and you just pay for the whole thing right away when you do it online as opposed to in the store. And it was pretty sweet. And I was nervous because I'd never ordered from GameStop.com before, and they didn't take my money for like a really long time. And I was just waiting for that to become a disaster and be like, oh, we actually didn't have enough, so actually you don't get your 3DS. And I was going to be so upset. But about 3 or 4 days before it launched, before this last Friday, my money came out and I got my confirmation thing, and I was really stoked. All my tracking emails and stuff was making it seem like I was actually going to get it today, after the weekend, today on Monday. But it was there on Friday, the day that it released. As soon as I got home from work, it was sitting on my front door, and it was awesome.
Did you have to pay extra for shipping? Did you choose like a expedited shipping?
There was a couple options, and there was like the free one or the $3 one for like a week, like the 7 to 10 days or whatever, and then it was like $15 for I think 2 to 5 days, and then like $20 for like 1 day. And I actually chose the $15 version. I paid $15 for whatever the middle of the road shipping was, and I still didn't think I would get it on Friday, but they got it to me the day it launched. So I actually had a really awesome experience. I got really lucky. So
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Tessa, let's hear.
Yes.
You're the only one I know that got a Majora's Mask one. So how did you get it, and when did you get it?
Okay, so how I got it was I was sitting there watching the Nintendo Direct live, as I usually do. Just, they announced the new 3DS XL. I didn't want the XL. I wanted the regular one. The larger screen doesn't mean anything to me. I don't hold the console very far away from my face, and it's the same pixel density anyway.
they're too small for my hands. That's part of it.
See, I don't have big hands.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, I might have bigger hands than I would like, but my hands are fine. I can hold the regular 3DS. I have the original blue one right now. That's just like I have not had any discomfort playing that except for the sharp corners, which that's not a problem on the new 3DS. Even then it's also just slightly larger than the regular as well. So I'm sitting there being all sorts of bummed out about how the regular one isn't coming out, because that was the one I was all sorts of excited for. They announced it in Japan, and there was no reason to expect it wouldn't come over here. It came to Australia, so that was already confirmed for an English release. Just thought it was going to come over, was already picking out what one I want. Like, I thought maybe I might get an XL, um, because when they were first announced, everything was in Japanese. I didn't realize only the regular ones came with the faceplates, and I was wondering, if I wanted to get an XL because it came in navy, and I'm a big fan of blue, anything blue. So they announced it in America. We're only getting the XL, and we're not getting the Navy XL. So they're just my hype for the new 3DS completely plummeted. I could not. It's like I couldn't care at all about the new 3DS because the complete lack of options. So I'm just still watching the Nintendo Direct, and that Nintendo Direct in general just had very few highlights. Like there was the new footage of Xenoblade Chronicles X, and like that was pretty much it to that Nintendo Direct. But then towards the end, they start talking about the Majora's Mask 3D remake, and they saying how it's going to launch on Friday the 13th, fall dates. And Reggie's doing his little smartsy thing, like, oh, wait, Friday the 13th, that sounds familiar. And so they show off the Majora's Mask 3DS, and I still don't like it. Everything is gold. All of the Zelda stuff is gold, and I've pretty much come to expect that by now. I know it's a throwback to the...
It's a Triforce.
Well, not the Triforce, but the original cartridges were gold. And it even is a little fitting because while the limited edition Ocarina of Time was the only one that was gold, I have that, by the way, and all of the Majora's Mask cartridges were gold. The limited edition just had a holographic little label to it. I have that, by the way. I have so much gold stuff now. I don't even like gold. I much prefer silver, but because I like Zelda, I guess by default that just means I have to like gold. I didn't like the design that much. It's like all of the 3DSs that have come out for limited edition have been gold. This is my least favorite out of those. With A Link Between Worlds one obviously being my most favorite because that one made like a lot of sense because the bottom part was black, it did the low-roll Triforce, and the top half was gold, and it was the high-roll Triforce, and it was a very simplified, elegant design, and it worked for that one. This one, it's just a picture of Majora's Mask etched into gold and some little bordering around the stuff that's kind of reminiscent of the Ocarina of Time limited edition 3DS. But I don't know. It doesn't work for me as much. But I'm like, well, what are my other options? Because the regular new 3DS isn't coming out here, and the Navy 3DS XL might come out here, but
we'll see. Yeah,
maybe
we'll
not.
see that
And they
fall.
just flat out did not announce it. So, I mean, who knows? So it's like, well, if I have to have a new 3DS, I want it to be this one. It is not my favorite design out of all the Legend of Zelda ones, but there was just nothing else. So I panicked and impulse bought it, basically.
So where'd you get it? Would you get it online?
I got it online. I got it from the GameStop online store. I was just one of those people that got it within the first 15 minutes. And I pulled up the GameStop store like immediately because I knew that there was that Skull Kid limited edition thing that came out that sold out like within hours. And so I just was prepared. I was lucky. That was all there was to it. Like I wasn't even refreshing it like I was refreshing it on a half-hour basis, but with the thing selling out in 15 minutes, that actually, like, it still boiled down to luck.
Yeah, that's
I-
insanely good luck.
Yeah, I paid I paid nothing on shipping, and still got it on Friday the 13th.
That's
Man.
impressive.
Yeah,
I was laughing.
GameStop.com is surprisingly efficient. I have to say, my one experience now was awesome, just like that.
So let me ask two
No,
questions. Let me ask two questions. A, why didn't you get the Monster Hunter one since silver? It's obviously the better design. I think everyone agrees.
It really is.
Did you
It's
consider
beautiful.
I did kind of, but
Well,
I'm not
correct me
that
if I'm
into
wrong. Doesn't the Majora's Mask one doesn't come with Majora's Mask?
No,
right?
it doesn't.
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, so
Um,
it's cheaper and it doesn't come with the game. The Monster Hunter one
Exactly.
was like $30 extra because it came with the game.
Because because that is the better design than the Majora's Mask one. But I am just not much of a Monster Hunter fan, and like I don't really feel like having that on.
Yeah,
my
I would have felt
3DS.
felt
if
fake.
it had been like
'Cause I'm not a fan, so it would have been.
exactly. I bought Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, and it's cool, but like
They're particular
have
kinds
enough-
of games. They're very hard to get into. It's like
Well,
it's
see,
either
the thing
your
is-
thing or it's not your thing.
I don't have enough people to play it with, and
Sure.
I feel like that game's strength kind of relies on its multiplayer. It is as fleshed out in single player, but honestly, it's just not as fun unless you're doing multiplayer. So not having any other Monster Hunter friends, I'm just I can't really get into the series.
So let me ask the second question. Did you consider trying to sell your Majora's Mask one and making money off it? Did that cross?
I'm still considering that. I haven't opened it.
Oh, you haven't.
Ooh.
I haven't opened it. I haven't touched it.
You and I should talk after the podcast if you know what I'm saying.
Because, well, see, the thing is, I really only want it if I can't get a regular new 3DS. Now, if later on they do announce the regular one is coming over to America, and they just either there was like stocking issues or something, and they always had planned to release it later, or if they just now, 'cause the new 3DS XL launched. It hasn't launched well, and people are complaining. Mostly, people are complaining about the Majora's Mask one selling out so quickly, and I think this is a huge mistake on their part, because if they had released the regular 3DS, the new 3DS, then it would have the faceplates,
Mhm.
and people want to oh well, it's not coming over. Oh well, faceplates aren't that big of a deal. But it seems like faceplates are kind of a big deal because of how quickly all their limited edition stuff sells out. I don't think it's.
I think eventually they will bring that out over here, and people will start picking them up.
Yeah, so I'm just sitting on it. I have it. It's right here. But I'm not gonna open it, and I wasn't even gonna plan on buying a new 3DS this soon anyway. But because this is a limited edition, and because it's Majora's Mask thing, I had to have gotten it when I did. Otherwise, I simply wouldn't have it.
That's why I pulled the trigger on mine, even though it got canceled. I didn't really want that one, and I didn't even know if I wanted a new 3DS. But I was like, I gotta have this collector's edition because
Is
I know
that the
how
one
rare.
you got, Terminator Juice? Was it
No,
Majora's
they
Mask?
canceled it.
Oh, that's
So
when
they
you
gave me
canceled.
$50 credit towards a regular.
Oh, I
one.
heard you say that on another podcast. Yeah,
Yeah, so
that
I
sucks.
couldn't pass that up. But
Yeah.
And I have to admit, even though I am completely unhyped for this thing, and I'm just waiting for Nintendo to say, we realize we made the mistake. We're going to bring the regular 3DS over, and it's going to have the awesome, actually, Majora's Mask faceplate, which would be which was what my avatar comes from. It is amazing, and I love that. It's not only does the new 3DS have the customizable faceplates, but the faceplate it got if it doesn't even need to be the fact that you can change the design. If that's the design we got for the XL, I would be happy with it.
yeah, if that picture was what the XL was, that would
Exactly.
that'd be cool. So, all right, let's get on to actual hands-on here. I just quickly I got to use it, and I got to use the red one. I played Smash and navigated the menu. I was impressed by the overall package. The speed, obviously, was for Smash was just ridiculous, so much better. But just everything about it feels good. It feels like an improvement. Like the C sticks or the C stick's nice, but the left what do they call the circle pad is a
Circle
little
pad,
bit
yeah.
smaller.
C-stick.
And then the C stick didn't feel without the game it didn't feel like it was going to do anything, but in the game it was really responsive.
Did
Actually,
it for Smash Brothers? Does it work with you as your Smash stick? 'Cause I
Yep,
haven't tried it.
yep,
Yet.
Yeah.
you can hold it and everything. It works
That's
great.
cool. That's cool.
So for me, and I want to get everyone's just quick highlight out of all the changes, the face tracking 3D for me was just the most obvious, immediate thing. I was like, it just didn't lose the 3D, and I was just blown away by that because I'm so used to mine is move it a little bit and you lose the 3D. I didn't have as much time as you, Mega and Rob, but for me in my short time, 20 minutes using it, that was the highlight for me, the best improvement. The only thing I didn't like was the ZL and ZR buttons seem like they're going to be a little hard to hit on a regular basis without hitting the L and R buttons. So what are you guys' what's the best improvement and anything you don't like about the new design? We'll go to Mega first.
I mostly like the design overall. I noticed that you just said about the ZL and ZR, not really that bad for my take. But the D-pad, of course, freaking beautiful like always. The buttons, the A, B, X, and Y are clicky. I like that. That is really nice.
Mhm.
But mostly my favorite overall design is the whole system itself. It looks so freaking beautiful. Like when you just close it like that and then open it and then you just have this beautiful. It's like all this stuff, all your options. It's wonderful. So I mean, I cannot say anything bad about it. Really, I would say. Yeah, I know many people have bad things about the whole back cover thing, but I'll get into that. But yeah, I thought mostly before I even thought about getting new 3DS, I thought that the whole cartridge being in the bottom would be a problem, but it's not actually. Because I thought that sometime you would go like, oh, psh, oh well, I lost all my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's really in there. It has like this kind of gap in it, and you really have to push in the cartridge in order to take it out. But yeah, it's really good. I really don't have any kind of design flaws with it. And yeah,
So cool. How about you, Rob? What do you think's the best of the changes they made, and is there anything you feel like maybe they didn't improve upon?
Sure. I mean, I did already make my kind of early impressions video that I put up yesterday. And all that stuff really holds true. I mean, like I said, the three biggest things that I think they changed was the processing speed, the improved 3D, and the C-Stick, and they're all great. I couldn't be happier with my purchase. The whole system is just fantastic. I think I'm like you too, Terminator Juice, and I said this in my impressions video. I live and die by the 3D. Like, that's part of the reason I like my 3DS. I always play with it on. And the improved 3D is absolutely fantastic. And what you'll probably notice, too, when you finally get yours and you really have a chance to spend a lot of time with it is even more so than just the head tracking, like which keeps your 3D no matter where you move your head. It also, I think it's just better quality 3D. Like, it pops more. It's way sharper. It's way more focused. Like, the depth feels more natural, and it doesn't even feel like a strain on my eyes at all, and I think that they just did an amazing thing with improving the 3D. It's too bad that the original 3DSs didn't have 3D that was this good, I think. But I'm also, since Monster Hunter is the only game I've actually played on it so far, and that game relies heavily on the camera movement, the C-Stick is freaking fantastic. For being such a small nub, it's really precise, it's really comfortable, it moves very easily. It's in a really good spot, too. That was my worry, is that it was going to be in like kind of an awkward spot for how small it is as like a little nub thing. But, playing Monster Hunter, which is super reliant on your ability to move the camera, it's awesome. It works perfectly. And the menu speed is great. I mean, I would probably say that the 3D is my favorite part just because I love the 3D on my 3DS. But it's all good. And if there's any complaint I have, it doesn't really count because this isn't like a long-term complaint. but I will never shut up about how much I hated the transfer process. It was the most cumbersome, ridiculous, stupid thing. I don't know what Nintendo was thinking. It is like the hugest, like botched thing that they've almost ever done. And it doesn't really matter, again, because you only do it if you feel you need to, and it's only something you do once, and then you're good to go. And so it really doesn't matter. But I just had such a miserable experience. I was so stressed out doing it. I was like, something is going to go wrong, and both of my systems will be useless. That was my fear. That was going to ruin both systems or wipe them out. I was transferring from my Link Between Worlds 3DS, so that's the reason I actually even did the transfer, was because I have Zelda downloaded on that. And this whole thing is a good example of why I actually hate digital content. I hate digital media. I never want to download games. But I bought 2 3DSs that had games preloaded on them, and I was trying to get both of them on the same new system, and that process sucked. But other than that, the system is fantastic. I love the 3D. I love the C-Stick. And the menu navigation, the speed really is that good. So I love it.
Awesome. And go check out Rule of Two review for his hands-on impressions video.
Yeah.
So
It's
we're
pretty
gonna
awesome.
have to try to wrap this up. There's a bunch of questions, but we haven't talked about Codename Steam yet.
Oh my gosh.
And that's kind of one of the main topics.
Okay.
But I just want to say, for anyone out there who hasn't played the demo, go download it. It's free. If you have a 3DS, just go download the game. It runs and works great on the old 3DS. I don't know about any improvements to the new 3DS, but the game's fun. It's unique. The art style fits perfectly with the 3DS. Does a great job of displaying the visual style. The 3D works great, and it's got full voice acting, and it's really clever. Like, the gameplay design is very unique for me, especially, and I just wanted to tell people it's very challenging too. I actually pre-ordered the game today after playing the demo. So I know, Rosa, you played it quite a bit. Anything you want to say about it specifically?
It's really good. What I expected just from Intelligent Systems, because I played Fire Emblem Awakening, they did a great job on that. It's really good though. It has a nice set of strategy, and really they did change with the 3DS. The best way ever to just aim with the C-Stick, just that C-Stick, it works.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely will help you out in the gameplay, and yeah, it's good enough. It's a really good demo. I thought after the first whole chapter there, the prologue, I would be done, but no, you actually get another mission basically.
Yeah, it's a long demo,
Yeah,
and then you
it's a
get to
really
replay
long
it. Once you gain 4 characters, you get to replay it. So,
Exactly.
Tessa, did you get to play
I did.
Codename Steam?
I did. It's part of another reason why I'm not so hyped for the new 3DS, because of how well it does play on just the regular 3DS. It's like the touchscreen camera it works like just it's pretty cool actually, and the controls, like you only really need to use the L button and move around with the circle pad, and it's just it's very streamlined, and it plays well. And I don't know how. I'm probably going to get the full game. I don't think I'm going to pre-order it. I'm not a fan of Fire Emblem, but as I've recently discovered, am a fan of Advance War. And while this is very much an Intelligent Systems game, it's like totally a departure from what they've done so far. Like, there's just like tiny elements that you can tell, like this is from that company, but it is something completely new all of itself. It's not even actually that much like Valkyria Chronicles, so that would be the closest comparison.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, if you are interested at all in having a diverse appetite for games, this is something that you should consider, because it's very unique. It's pretty much the only thing like it, and I think that is going to be its main that is its main strength. Just how much uniqueness it is oozing. It
Yep.
not only in the aesthetic, which is like steampunk, but also comic books and Americana, but it's in London, and yeah, it's not easy to explain. Just go play it.
Yeah, and I would
Most people
say
play it.
you hit the nail right on the head. Like it affirmed, or actually gave me more faith in the current 3DS. Has had more life in it than I
Mhm.
thought. This game plays and runs so well on the 3DS
Yeah.
that you don't need the new 3DS at all. So it's almost like it's not a good reason to get the new 3DS because it plays so well on the old one. So
Is there free camera control in that? I think I
yeah,
heard there's
use
not.
the A,
Oh,
B,
you do?
X, and Y buttons for your
Exactly.
camera, and
Oh, wow,
it
that's
works.
Oh
It
yeah.
works, but it's. I mean, I'm sure the C stick works better, but we
Well,
got a bunch of
I use the touchpad.
we got a
Honestly,
bunch
I
of
think
questions.
it's amazing.
Oh, you can use
Yeah,
the
let's do
touchpad.
questions. Yeah.
We got a bunch of questions. I'm gonna try to pick one from each person first, and because we got about 10 minutes, I got to wrap this up. Island Hopper 64. He actually commented on some of my videos. He's predicted. I've given hints about what games I was gonna get, and he's been right on the money the last couple times. So I'm gonna answer or ask one of his questions, and thank you for joining the Juices Loose for the first time. I don't think you've asked questions on here before, so I'm gonna give this to Rob. Hold on. Select. Why do games on other systems seem to fall so harshly in price? He was in GameStop the other day, and here in Europe, Lightning Returns on PS3 was €5 brand new. The game is only a year old. Meanwhile, Nintendo games almost never drop in price.
Oh, I'd have to say, I mean, it's almost kind of easy because I think that most other companies' games, even if they are really, really good, they just don't have a life. They don't last that long. The interest wanes and goes away pretty soon after the initial hype and the initial release. And, you know, a lot of those other companies' games are they're heavy on DLC, so of course they find ways to kind of bring people back for a little bit. Nintendo's only starting that, but I think it's that they just don't have the kind of shelf life that Nintendo's games do. I mean, Nintendo knows the strength of their branded games and their first-party stuff, and, you know, the brand new Zelda is going to sell a whole bunch when it first comes out, but even a year or two down the road, it'll still be a game that sells. You can go to VG charts, and you will still see Mario Kart Wii on the top lists, and, like, Super Mario 3D Land for the 3DS, which was, like, 2 years old. Like, their games just sell for longer, and it's supply and demand. The more demand there is for a game to still be selling, the less they have a reason to drop the price because people will still pay that full price. And I'm
if
pretty sure
you
that's what it is.
keep the price up, then it feels to the people that bought the game that they still have value, and there's no reason to get rid of the game because there's still value in
Yeah,
having
that's a
it.
good point. Yeah, they're like, wow, this game I bought 2 years ago still sells for the full price, so I probably should hold on to it. Yeah, that's a really good point. So,
All right, so games, I'm going to ask you the next question. Where did it go? It had to do with The Last Guardian. There it is. Apparently Sony dropped the Last Guardian trademark. Is anybody else heartbroken by this news or partially relieved that at least we know that for sure it's not coming? Games. I mean, that just means that name. They might have changed the name, but how do you feel about the Last Guardian not being renewed the trademark, and what do you think that means for that game that's over like 10 years old now? Haven't seen it in 8 years.
Oh man, I saw that news. I'm just like, oh shoot. Well then, goodbye. That's just how it was. Now this could happen two ways, honestly, because many trademarks, whenever they get canceled, also get another name because they want to change it. So that might happen where the game is still there, but they're just gonna change the name and they gave up on that name, that trademark. Or it could happen like basically all of us think, which, to be honest, I think it's happening where it's gone. It's gone. It's dead because I basically can see where Sony is going, because that game wouldn't have the same feeling as in any, because who's making this game again? I forgot.
People that did Shadow of the Colossus.
it's Team Eco. Team Eco.
Yeah, Team Nico. I think most of those people are gone, so it wouldn't have that same amazing feel like Shadow of the Colossus did.
Well, yeah, and I think
Yeah.
they probably sunk so much money into it. I doubt there's even a game yet. I mean, it never looked like a game. It looked like a big dog with wings and a kid. Like, it just didn't look like they had an idea for a game. It looks like they had an idea for some kind of a story, maybe.
Yeah, because honestly, it was, it's been 10 years and we still haven't heard from this game. They never want to talk about it. Every single time people mention it to any Sony rep or even the president or something like that, they're just like, we got nothing. We got nothing. They keep saying that, so apparently they really do have nothing.
And they didn't release a game in the 7th gen, like.
No, they didn't. Well, The Last Guardian was going to be a PS3 game.
Yeah, and it was
initially. Yeah.
That's all it was ever supposed to be. So I just think they just need to cancel it and give that team a fresh start. Say, hey, work on Shadow of the Colossus 2, because it was, in my opinion, the best Sony exclusive ever made. And I think they should have had something else to follow, but it's hard to follow a masterpiece. Maybe that's the problem they were running into. They just couldn't find something to live up to that expectation. So that was from Anderson Archillo. This is from Cable Tie 7. Tessa, when do you think we'll get Smash tournaments? In that update, someday we're getting tournaments. When do you think we'll see those?
I'm thinking it's probably going to happen at the same time as Mewtwo happens, which, if I am correct, is scheduled for March?
Mm-hmm.
Or just spring
March
in
or
general.
April, yeah, springtime.
I think they're going to bundle that all together in one large update. No Rayman, but it's still going to. I think they're going to try and not have too many spread out updates for it. Just to, tournaments could be done and not Mewtwo. And I think they would hold that off just to have it all kind of organized.
Yeah, that makes sense. But they did give us those updated stages in the 8-player mode.
Which is really
that
cool.
That wasn't anything you really opted into, though, was it?
To me, that's such a waste of an update. Honestly, that I would have appreciated that with the addition of the other stuff.
What they're doing is they had a game in mind, and then the release date was coming, and they realized they couldn't deliver that game. So we're gonna eventually get that game, that all the content they originally had, and it's gonna come when it comes. I think as they finish things up, we're gonna get it. But I do agree, the Mewtwo and the big one coming at the same time makes sense.
Well, now see, I'm beginning to doubt myself because they did kind of. I guess they aren't really trying to keep things as condensed as I was thinking they would.
And instead of giving us an incomplete game and charging us extra for the rest of it, they just realize, hey, we got to get this game out November 21st. We have to be out before Black Friday. We'll give them the rest of the game later with no additional charge. That's the thing I want to point out.
The one condition for Mewtwo is that you have to buy both versions.
But that's fair.
I also think that there's going to be more characters coming soon, so maybe with new DLC characters, either with the announcement or when those characters show up.
Oh yeah,
maybe the announcement. We won't see them anytime soon. They says it takes them for almost a year to create a character and balance it and all that.
Wow, that's crazy. But you know what's good about that is it shows that they make their DLC after the game is completed, and that's how you're supposed to do it.
Mm-hmm. And this is the first time they've released a game that wasn't complete to their standards, and this is, instead of charging us extra for it, we're going to get it eventually. And I think that was a good compromise to get the game out.
Just the one thing. All I'm just waiting for from one of these updates is, first of all, a little bit of fixes in the game, and an Amiibo online battles. Come on.
That would be cool.
That would be very smart. Yeah.
Because I don't know anybody really locally that would want to be like, hey, you want to come to my house and verse my Amiibo? Like, what the frick is that? I mean,
my Amiibo can beat up your Amiibo.
I wish there was some online. That would be fun, because it's fun watching Amiibos battle sometimes. All right, gonna wrap this up. I'm just Island Hopper. He asked me about Fire Emblem. I want to tell him my avatar character is already married to Sumia. And I've been he asked me, who I wanted to be paired with. I didn't know that they just got married once you just kept fighting together, and their relationship went from C, B, A to S. I didn't know they were going to get married. I never played any of those games before, so I was kind of shocked. And I wanted to.
Well, that was the first one where that happened, though.
Is it?
Yeah,
So
that
I'm
was
trying
new
to
for
like.
that one, yeah.
So now that I'm married, so I've been paired up with Lucina pretty much since she was available, and I'm stuck on A. I don't know if it just can't go past that because.
Robin
Because
and
I'm not married.
Lucina all day.
But Lucina's back. She's so awesome. Her critical hits are like 180. Everyone else's is like 80,
Yeah.
90, 100. But yeah.
I'm so glad you're enjoying that game, man.
It's the second best game on the 3DS, and it could eventually be the best game on the 3DS if I keep playing it.
So do you feel better, because that's like such an RPG experience, which you don't do a whole lot, do you feel better about Xenoblade Chronicles X since you're kind of enjoying Fire Emblem?
Yeah, I loved Advance Wars, though, so I don't know if Xenoblade's going to have that same effect.
You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
Well, I like Advance Wars too, actually. That something about that game, actually, it's like not quite. It's totally an RPG. It's totally a strategy RPG. It's kind of really similar to Fire Emblem, but it doesn't really feel like it.
Yeah, I
don't like Fire Emblem.
I love the game, but there's a whole bunch of questions here. I want to answer them, but I gotta go. So I'm sorry to everyone.
Put it in the comment section, and I'll get him. He will get to you later.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make that commitment for him.
Keep on just answer the question, but I gotta go. I gotta wrap this up. That's why I started it early. I gotta start getting done so I gotta get up early for work and stuff. I gotta get to bed sooner, and still got things I gotta do here at my house. So sorry I didn't get to all the questions. I really want to, but I got priorities and I got to make a tough call. So we're going to wrap this up. I want to thank my guests. I want to thank everyone who's watched this and all the people that ask questions. Really appreciate that, and everybody tuning in every week. So real quick, just sign-offs and any last words. You got 30 seconds. Go, Mega.
Wow. All right. All right, but it's been great here. It's been great talking about this great piece of hardware. And I'll see you guys later, I guess. I really got nothing else much to say. Bye-bye.
All right, Rob, any final thoughts?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I always love watching and being on The Juice is Loose. And it's cool because we get to talk about the new 3DS, which is freaking amazing. And, of course, my channel that I run, by the way, is called Rule of Two Review. If anyone wants to check it out, I have put up two new 3DS-related videos, so you guys can check more in-depth thoughts on the system and stuff like Terminator Juice said. But yeah, thanks for having me on, man, and hope I get to do it again soon.
Thanks for coming back. And then Tessa usually asks questions, and now you're on the Juice Loose. I wish I would have had a little more time, but any final words before we go?
Here it is.
Oh,
Make me an offer.
$2 million.
Okay,
that is not a legal contract.
$3 million.
I am legitimately considering selling this for just way too much and importing a regular new 3DS XL.
You should.
$5 billion.
Do import like the European one, so at least the games will be in English. So.
Well, see, I'm thinking about the Japanese one because the fact that they didn't announce Rhythm Heaven for America, that has me very concerned. And I'm afraid that's going to be Japanese only. And I was hoping that the series had sold well enough. I hope it's just a matter of time. But I don't know. With the regular new 3DS not coming over here, I've lost all my faith in them localizing things.
All right. Well,
that was supposed to be their new big thing, and they dropped it. I'm disappointed.
Well, thanks for being on The Juice is Loose and showing that Majora's Mask that probably 90% of us.
Man, red one better. Man,
so, anyway,
that is the ugliest red. Oh my god.
It looks nice in person. It looks nice in person.
No, it's stupid.
Does.
Why didn't we get the Navy one?
Right, I'm ending the broadcast. Thank everybody for watching.